Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbours, today we gather to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, a day filled with parades, music, laughter, and a whole lot of green. But beyond the fun and festivities lies a story of far older, deeper, and richer than most people realise. To understand St. Patrick's Day, we must begin long before Patrick ever set foot in Ireland. Centuries before Christianity arrived, Ireland was a land shaped by nature-based spirituality, mythology, and seasonal festivals. The people honored gods and goddesses connected to the sun, the rivers, the hills, and the turning of the seasons. They celebrated great fire festivals like Samhain, the ancient New Year, during Halloween, Imbolc, the first promise of spring, Beltane, the lighting of summer fires, and Lugnstad, the harvest festival, none of which land on March 17th. Their world was guided by druids, poets, and seers, keepers of law and lore and spiritual wisdom. They built monuments like Nugrang, aligned perfectly with the rising sun of the winter solstice, showing a cultural deeply connected to the rhythms of the earth. There was the Ireland Patrick encounter, a land with its own laws, its own gods, and its own magic. St. Patrick himself was not Irish. He was actually born in Roman Britain, and at 16 he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and brought to Ireland as a slave. Alone in the fields tending sheep, he found strength in prayer and faith, even admitting that he prayed over hundreds of times a day. After 6 years, he escaped and returned home, but his story didn't end there. Patrick felt called to return to the very land in which he had suffered, not for revenge, but for service. He returned as a missionary, walking into tribal territories, speaking to kings and commoners, preaching compassion, forgiveness, and hope to everyone alike. Over decades, he helped transform Ireland into a center of Christian learning and culture. And many of the legends, like driving out snakes, are symbolic. Ireland never had snakes. But it did have fear, division, and spiritual uncertainty. And Patrick helped drive out those forces not with force, but with conviction. His legacy is not magic, it's courage, it's faith, it's the willingness to turn pain into purpose. So where do the leprechauns come in? Well, we talked about one of the most beloved symbols of this holiday, the leprechaun. We talked about the pre-Christian Ireland. Well, leprechauns did not come from St. Patrick's story. They came from ancient Irish fairy folklore long before Christianity. They were solitary, mischievous shoemakers who guarded hidden gold. And in early tales, they were red, not green, and were far more troublesome than the cheerful characters we see today. Their connection to St. Patrick's Day came much later, especially through Irish-American culture, the blending of the two. As immigrants celebrated their heritage, leprechauns became playful mascots of Irish magic and mischief. And green became the color of the holiday, and the leprechaun's outfit changed with it. Parades, decorations, and pop culture sealed the connection. So today, leprechauns stand beside St. Patrick, not because of history, but because of imagination. A reminder that Irish culture is a blend of myth, memory, and celebration. So St. Patrick's Day is more than a single story. It's the meeting of an ancient Irish tradition, Christian transformation, modern cultural celebrations. It honors the old festivals of fire and sun, the courage of a kidnapped boy who became a leader, the folklore that still dances through Irish imagination, and the joy of a people who carried their heritage across oceans. Today we celebrate all of it. The history, the myth, the faith, the fun, and the unbreakable spirit of Ireland. Happy St. Patrick's Day. May courage, joy, and a little bit of Irish magic be with you today and always. Remember what today is all about. It's not about the money, the commercialism, the big parades. It's about the faith that we hold inside of ourselves and the remember of our culture, of our ancestors. Happy St. Patrick's Day.